YouTube, it's Rico, man. I'm back with another video, man. Y'all see what we got going on. We got the criminal history of Pooh Shiesty, man. So y'all already know what time it is. If you're brand new to the channel or you've been watching videos on the channel but for some reason not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now, as well as tell your friends and family about us, and hopefully they become supporters of the channel as well and help us on the ground to 5K. But when y'all do that as well, make sure y'all smash the like button and comment on this video to help this video get recommended to a larger audience of people. Other than that, man, y'all know what time it is, and don't forget to follow us on our social media. I'm pretty sure somewhere around here on the video y'all gonna see our @name on IG and stuff like that, and I'm gonna leave my personal IG as well, because I know a lot of people usually gonna probably follow me more just because of the simple fact that I'm pretty much doing the videos a lot more. But other than that though, man, y'all already know what time it is. Other than that, let's go ahead and get this video started. Well, first with the screen record, but that started, and we're gonna start this video now.
Dontrell Williams Jr., better known by his stage name Pooh Shiesty, is a rapper from Memphis, Tennessee. Even though he's only been making music since 2017, he's one of the hottest up-and-coming artists in hip-hop. Has racked up millions of streams on tracks like 762 God and Back in Blood featuring Lil Durk. He signed the Gucci Mane's 1017 label in April 2020 and is in a good position to be one of the next big...
Y'all comment down below who y'all feel like the best out of 1017, because I ain't gonna lie, I know a lot of people is choosing Big Scar and Pooh Shiesty. To be honest, I ain't even gonna lie, Big Scar definitely up there, but Pooh Shiesty, you can't really tell, like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to really tell who is better than who to me, to be honest, but I feel like a lot of people is going with Big Scar over him. So y'all let me know down below who y'all think is the best artist out of 1017 currently. But other than that, let's continue.
Big stars out of the South. However, like many promising young rappers, just as Pooh Shiesty's career was getting off the ground, he was arrested in connection with a shooting that could potentially put his career and freedom in jeopardy. The shooting took place in Bay Harbor, Florida on October 13, 2020. No one was killed, but 2 victims sustained gunshot wounds. Pooh Shiesty and his associates were arrested and charged with armed robbery, aggravated assault, battery, and criminal theft. The case is still ongoing, and the full story is yet to be revealed, but there is surveillance footage of the shooting that has been released to the public. Let's take a look back at Pooh Shiesty's criminal history and his career up to this point. Pooh Shiesty was born in Memphis, Tennessee on November 8, 1999. Compared to many rappers, he had a fairly stable childhood with both his parents in the picture. However, his father, Dontrell Williams Sr., was a rapper who went by the name Mob Boss and was the founder of a Memphis-based record label called Mob Ties Records.
I didn't even know that. That's some new information to me for sure. I definitely didn't know that.
Both Pooh Shiesty and his father grew up in South Memphis and were involved in the streets from an early age. In 2004, Dontrell Sr. was charged as an accomplice in the murder of a radio DJ who was found dead in her apartment. He wasn't the one who committed the murder, but he was somehow involved. In an interview with Fuchsia's TV, the rapper claimed his father was always in his life, except when he was locked up.
What about your pops? Was your pops around? Yeah, most definitely. Pops been around from the start unless he was locked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's the only time he went around.
On the track Monday to Sunday, featuring Lil Baby and Big 30, Pooh Shiesty raps, "Miss Gladys raised a savage, they say I shoot like my daddy," referencing his father's criminal past. The cover art for his track Day One also features a picture of the young rapper with his father dressed as old school Chicago gangsters, machine guns and all that. Although the guns are probably just props and the outfits just costumes, it shows the kind of father-son relationship they had. Fans and journalists have covered an old photo of Pooh Shiesty wearing an ankle monitor at only 11 years old. The rapper has been quiet about exactly what he was charged with at such a young age, but whatever it was enough to get him expelled from school and sent to an alternative school. At age 16, the rapper left Memphis and relocated with his mother to Pflugerville, Texas. But he returned to Memphis 2 years later, which is when he started rapping. He and his childhood friend, Big 30, started releasing music in 2017, but it wasn't until he dropped his breakout hit, Shiesty Summer, that things started to heat up for Pooh Shiesty. His song At It Again was remixed by Moneybagg Yo in March.
Y'all let me know, was y'all on his wave back when he first officially started? Because I ain't gonna lie, the song that put me on to him was that Back in Blood. That's the only song that I really heard from him when I first heard about him. So I'm gonna have to go check out his breakout song, because a lot of the times the breakout songs be some of their best body of work compared to what they already got currently out, so I'm gonna go check it out and see what's up.
March 2020, and he caught the eye of Gucci Mane not long after. He signed to 1017 Records in April 2020, and the two collaborated on the track Still Remember in June 2020. The duo reunited on Who Is Him for the 1017 compilation album So Icy Summer, which was released on July 3rd, 2020. He continued this impressive streak of hits by releasing the track Back in Blood with Lil Durk in November 2020, which became his most streamed song to date with just under 30 million plays on Spotify. But just a few weeks before this track dropped, Pooh Shiesty found himself in some serious legal trouble. Video surveillance footage released by a Miami news station allegedly shows Pooh Shiesty involved in a shootout that occurred in broad daylight in a parking lot in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida. The footage shows a green McLaren, a Mercedes Maybach, and another Mercedes enter the parking lot and pull over.
And I ain't gonna lie, I did a reaction video to this because this other channel I subscribe to and watch and listen to is In the Sentence, and the guy was talking about this and stuff. And the evidence that is pretty much made known around the time that video came out, it made the case confusing, because if you seen in the video, you can't really see like who escalated something. Like out of nowhere, somebody just pulled out a gun and stuff, and then next thing you know, the two guys that he was supposed to be buying from ended up getting hit, and they said he was basically saying like, don't you try it or something. I think it was an audio, not even an audio, but somebody was saying that he pretty much was saying don't you try it, but they couldn't tell if Pooh Shiesty actually had a gun or not on him when he had said that. But it looked like the person in the passenger had a gun or whatever the case was and stuff like that. But either way, this whole situation just pretty much was confusing on how it escalated to that pretty much. But something had to happen where they were like, oh yeah, nah, this definitely ain't that.
A group of men gets out of each of the cars, and at first, things appear to be calm. But all of a sudden, guns are drawn and shots start going off. It's not entirely clear what set off the mayhem, but one man with a pistol and another with a Draco start firing shots. The camera clearly shows a man in a white t-shirt get shot in the ass and start limping away. He hides behind the vehicle and can be seen inspecting the wound, while the others hop back in the car and flee the scene. The footage is pretty clear because the camera is pointed right back at the crew, and the shooting happened in the middle of the day in a well-lit area. But it's tough to make out the identities of the men involved. Allegedly, Pooh Shiesty's in the green McLaren, but it's not clear.
And it's crazy because I don't know, like, to be honest, in that situation, it pretty much looked like somebody definitely could have died, but for whatever reason, nobody died, and the situation, you really can't tell what really started it all in the first place. So that's still the main confusion part on the whole thing. But we gonna see later on what's gonna happen with this. But I feel like they gonna find a way to get him out of that case, because either way, nobody died, and two, you couldn't really tell if he had a gun or not in the video. But yeah, man, that's all I pretty much got to say about that.
If he was one of the shooters or if it were other members of his crew. The incident has fans puzzled because at first, everything seems cool. But within seconds, it turns to gunfire.
The footage shows a
I
McLaren
literally
sports
just
car,
said that too.
Mercedes
Like, it's
Maybach,
confusing
and another
right
Mercedes
now.
pull into this East Bay Harbor
Like,
Drive
you don't
condo
know
parking
what
lot.
set that
Men
off.
from the vehicles eventually get out and meet, and then this. The man in the white shirt has a pistol. The man in the black sweatshirt has a longer gun, and at about the same time, they begin firing before retreating back to the Maybach. The fancy getaway cars speed off, and one of two victims then hobbles to the car.
Rumors are circulating that it's a drug deal or sneaker deal gone wrong. The victims drove themselves to urgent care in Miami after the shooting. One had to undergo surgery. However, they both made a full recovery. One of the victims told police that they were there to sell Shiesty a pair of Air Jordan 4s. The other victim said that they were there to sell them weed and get a payment for the McLaren, which supposedly Pooh Shiesty was renting from them. So off the bat, their stories didn't exactly add up. But one victim claimed that he was inside the vehicle and about to sell Pooh Shiesty weed when a group of other men hopped out of another vehicle with guns. The rapper told him to get out of the car, and as he was doing so, he was shot in the ass. The other victim says he was walking to his car when the men showed up, and he was shot twice in the back. After the shooting, police found a Louis Vuitton bag with $30,000 cash left on the scene. Allegedly, this bag belonged to Pooh Shiesty. The cops used his own Instagram to trace the bag and the bills to the rapper. They were able to uncover an Instagram post where he was seen flexing with the bag and match the serial numbers to the bags and the cash. According to the victims, the incident seems like Pooh Shiesty and his crew set him up to get robbed. But if that were the case, then why would he bring his own $30,000 cash and leave it at the scene? Plus, why would he have that much money if he was only buying Jordans and weed? Maybe if he was really renting a McLaren from them. But then why stage a robbery just to steal your own money back? Pooh Shiesty was released not long after on a $30,000 bond, same amount of money that he left on the scene. Shiesty has hired one of the best attorneys currently working in hip-hop, a man named Bradford Cohen. Bradford Cohen is a lawyer who has defended high-profile artists like Kodak Black, Lil Wayne, and YNW Melly. Cohen was the one responsible for helping Kodak and Wayne beat their federal gun charges and even negotiated a pardon from former President Donald Trump back in January. Check out our videos on rappers pardoned for their crimes for more information on their gun cases. Kodak was so happy with the way Cohen handled his case that he got his name tattooed on his hand in appreciation. So Cohen is no stranger to helping high-profile rappers beat difficult cases.
You know, he getting that bag for sure, man. And that's a lot of the times with big-time lawyers like this. They always take on the celebrity cases and stuff like that and somehow find a way, whatever evidence they can bring to basically show that they what they call it, client, I think, where they'll pretty much present evidence to the judge and stuff showing that they client really had nothing to do with what happened and stuff, or if they did have something to do with it, they'll try to find ways to lesser the time or find a way to get them out a lot sooner than the time originally given or something like that. But he's definitely getting that bag because he know what he's doing.
Cohen successfully argued that there are many holes in the victim's story. First, one of them claimed that they were there to sell some sneakers, while the other adamantly claimed that they were trying to sell the rapper drugs, which is tough to make either seem like a credible witness. Second, Pooh Shiesty is one of the hottest up-and-coming rappers in the country, and it seems unlikely that he would knowingly show up to a planned robbery in broad daylight, especially with $30,000 of his own money. Cohen argues that something occurred outside the vehicle that Shiesty had no involvement in, and he was simply caught in the middle. The judge must have agreed with him to some extent because he set the bond at a low rate. When a famous rapper is charged with a violent crime, the bond is usually 6 figures and beyond, especially if it's a shooting in broad daylight. But because there are so many holes in the victim's story, and it's still unclear whether Pooh Shiesty was one of the shooters or just happened to be in the car, he was let off with a bond he could easily pay. Although this case is far from a slam dunk, Shiesty does have a few things working in his favor. First, the shooting happened in Florida, a state that has more relaxed gun laws than most other states, including a stand your ground law. If Pooh Shiesty's team can prove that they fired in self-defense, it can easily beat the charge. That may be tough to prove because the victims don't appear to be armed, but if they can prove that the victims threatened them or otherwise contributed to the violence, it'll make it an easier case to beat. If the shooting had happened in a more heavily regulated state like New York or California, it'd be tough to explain why his team was casually strapped with a Draco. But in Florida, it's a whole different world. Second, neither victim sustained life-threatening injuries. If either one had been seriously injured or killed, it would be a tougher charge to beat. But given his clout and connections, Pooh Shiesty can likely plead down the charges to avoid jail time. Perhaps the biggest thing going for Pooh Shiesty is that the victim admitted that he was there to sell the rapper weed. When someone shoots an innocent bystander, the courts are much stricter on punishment. When it comes to street business that involves willing parties, they tend to be a bit more lenient because the victims put themselves in a risky situation and therefore aren't entirely innocent. It also makes it harder for the prosecutors to paint Pooh Shiesty and his crew as the aggressors when the victims were there to sell drugs in the first place. Fans have speculated several theories as to what may have gone down. Some say that the victims were planning on robbing Shiesty and his crew simply got the jump on him. Others have claimed that perhaps the victim said something disrespectful and tensions escalated into a shootout. There are still so many unknown variables.
I feel like something was said, man. It had to be something that was said that escalated that whole situation. That's how I feel about it. But y'all tell me down below in the comment section, like, what y'all feel like happened that caused that situation to go the way it did. But I feel like something definitely was probably said, and they probably looked at it as like a threat or something like that, disrespectful, etc., etc. But other than that, I feel like he's gonna beat this case regardless, just because one, those two guys, that's basically the victim's stories ain't adding up. Two, it's a lot of factors that can't really be proven on camera without audio and stuff of how that situation escalated the way it did. Three, Shiesty didn't even have a gun, to be honest, because like I said in the video, you can't even see if he actually had a gun or not. Four, they all alive, so nobody got killed. So it obviously wasn't a shoot to kill type of thing, or maybe the guy just wasn't, the guys that were shooting just wasn't really shooting that well. But I feel like they wasn't doing the shoot to kill because they easily could have killed those two guys and left them for dead and stuff like that, but they didn't. So it's something that has to do with something was probably said, and they didn't want to shoot them to kill them, but to let them know, like, y'all really trying to wrong people type thing. That's how I feel.
Variables in the situation, but it's tough to know exactly what happened. This case is still ongoing, and new details will continue to emerge. Only time will tell whether this case will simply be a blip on the radar of a massively successful career for Pooh Shiesty, or if it'll destroy his career entirely and he'll fall off like many other artists do. Either way, the incident hasn't stopped the rapper's hustle. In February 2021, he released his debut mixtape, Shiesty Season, which featured guest verses from artists like 21 Savage and his label mate Fujiano. The case has put a black cloud over the future, but it hasn't stopped him from being one of the most popular artists in the game. Whether he beats the case and continues his meteoric rise, or lets it stop him in his tracks, is yet to be seen. If you like this video, check out some of our previous videos.
And that's pretty much the end of the video, man. But yeah, definitely I feel like he's gonna beat this case. But even if he don't, he might do a little bit of time, because either way, nobody got murdered and stuff like that. So even if he don't escape without doing time, then he probably gonna do at least, I don't know, probably a year or two, maybe more. But I know for sure it's gonna be less than 5 years regardless. Maybe even less than 4 years. I'll probably say, like I said, a limit of 1 to 2 years, if anything. But I feel like this case is just gonna get thrown out, or they gonna find a way to just let him pretty much be out without going to jail and doing time. But other than that though, man, y'all comment down below what y'all feel about this whole situation and stuff like that. Other than that, man, that's pretty much the end of this video, man. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're brand new, man. And I'm gonna see y'all later on with more videos. Peace.